Hey everyone, welcome. Today, I want to share something deeply personal, the story of how my spiritual awakening began. And let me tell you, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't peaceful. It wasn't filled with love and light. It was raw. It was painful. It was the complete destruction of everything I thought I was. I never planned for this. I never asked for it. One day, I was just living my life, thinking I had it all figured out. I had dreams, goals, a path I was following, just like everyone else. And then, out of nowhere, my entire world collapsed. Everything I thought was stable was ripped away from me. And the worst part? I had no idea why it was happening. Maybe you're here because you're feeling the same way. Maybe your life has been flipped upside down and you don't understand why. Maybe you're questioning everything: your identity, your relationships, your purpose. If that sounds like you, then trust me, you're not crazy. You're not broken. You're not being punished. What you're experiencing might just be something much bigger than you realize. Because sometimes, when everything falls apart, it's not the end. It's the beginning. So stick with me, because I'm about to take you through the darkest, most painful moments of my life. Moments that at the time felt like absolute hell. But now, looking back, I can see they were all part of something greater. Something I never could have imagined. I never saw it coming. My life was on track. Or at least, I thought it was. I was in university, finishing my studies, and preparing for what I assumed would be a normal, stable life. But in one single moment, everything shattered. My father came to visit me, and that day, he collapsed. I remember standing there, my mind unable to process what was happening. Something inside me shifted, like reality had cracked open, and nothing felt the same anymore. Later, we got the news that he was diagnosed with cancer. My father had cancer. The weight of that word crushed me. Suddenly, all the things I thought mattered, my studies, my future, my goals, felt meaningless. It was as if life had ripped the ground from under me, forcing me to see that everything I was building my identity on could disappear in an instant. That was the first crack in the illusion. But it was only the beginning. That night, after my father collapsed, I couldn't sleep. My mind wouldn't stop racing, replaying the event over and over again. I was consumed by fear, uncertainty, and the overwhelming question: what happens next? It felt like reality itself had cracked open, and I was staring into the unknown. That night marked the true beginning of my ego death. The part of me that believed life was predictable, safe, and controllable was starting to break apart. But at the time, I didn't understand it. I only knew that something inside me was unraveling, and there was no way to stop it. 1 month later, something happened that no one could have prepared me for. I saw someone on television, a person I had never met before. Yet in that moment, something inside me exploded. It was an instant recognition. But it wasn't just admiration or attraction. It was pain. A deep, unbearable yearning that made no sense. At first, it felt like butterflies, a rush of excitement I couldn't explain. But as time passed, those butterflies turned into something much darker: obsession. I thought about this person constantly, 24/7, 365 days a year. It didn't stop. It didn't fade. Instead, it consumed me. I didn't understand what was happening. Why was I feeling this way about someone I had never met? The emotions became unbearable. One moment, I was filled with longing so intense it felt like my soul was being pulled apart. The next, I was drowning in rage, frustration, and confusion. My mind tried to fight it, but there was no escape. Every part of my identity was breaking down, and I couldn't do anything to stop it. I later realized that this person was my twin flame, the ultimate mirror to my soul. But at that time, I didn't have words for what was happening. I only knew that I was losing myself, piece by piece, and there was no way back. When I first saw her on that TV show, something deep inside me froze. But at the same time, it felt like I had known her forever. It made no sense. My logical mind tried to dismiss it. She's just another person on TV, I told myself. But that didn't stop the feeling. As days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, an invisible force kept pulling me towards her. It wasn't just admiration or attraction. It was something else, something deeper, unexplainable, and uncontrollable. I started stalking her on social media, endlessly scrolling through her pictures, rewatching her videos, trying to understand why I couldn't stop thinking about her. My mind became an endless loop of questions. Who is she? Why do I feel like I know her? Why is she in my head 24/7? At first, it felt like love, an intoxicating, euphoric high, a dreamlike connection that made everything feel magical. But after 4 months, that illusion shattered. The beautiful feeling of bubble love turned into desperate rage, unbearable pain, and total obsession. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I couldn't function. Every second of my life became torture. My thoughts were no longer my own. They belonged to her. And the worst part? I had never even met her. Not once. Not in real life. Not in any way. It was madness. I would lie in bed, screaming inside my own mind, trying to shut off the thoughts, trying to breathe without feeling like my entire existence was being ripped apart. No matter what I did, I couldn't escape her presence in my mind. It was like an invisible force had taken over my entire being, and I had no way to fight it. I would wake up with her face in my head, go through the day completely paralyzed by thoughts of her, and fall asleep, if I even managed to sleep at all, only to dream about her again. It didn't stop. I kept checking her social media over and over, looking at the same pictures as if I was searching for something. Some kind of answer, some kind of relief. But nothing ever changed. The pull only got stronger. I wasn't just obsessed. I was drowning in it. It felt like I had lost all control over my own mind. At first, I thought maybe it was just an infatuation, something that would fade with time. But it didn't fade. It got worse. 4 months into this unbearable cycle, something inside me snapped. The feelings that once felt like love and admiration twisted into agony. I was no longer just longing for her. I was raging at the universe for putting me through this. I couldn't understand what was happening to me. I was exhausted from the endless thinking, the sleepless nights, the emotional breakdowns that would hit me out of nowhere. I couldn't eat. My body was shutting down, but my mind wouldn't stop torturing me. It felt like I was being ripped apart from the inside, piece by piece, day after day. This wasn't normal. This wasn't just heartbreak. This was pure suffering, the kind that words can't describe. I remember moments where I would literally scream into my pillow, trying to silence the thoughts, trying to stop the madness. But nothing worked. Nothing helped. I had no closure, no explanation, no reason for this pain, because I had never even met her. I had no relationship with her. She didn't even know I existed. and yet she had become the center of my entire existence. I felt like a prisoner inside my own mind, trapped in a loop that I couldn't break. I wouldn't wish this on anyone, not even my worst enemy. People talk about breakups, about unrequited love, about heartbreak that takes years to heal. But this was beyond all of that. It was something else entirely. It was like being set on fire from the inside out with no way to put out the flames. And the worst part was, I had no idea why it was happening to me. During the darkest moments of my twin flame experience, when I felt like I was completely losing my mind, I stumbled upon someone on the internet who actually understood what I was going through. His name was Kurt Johnson, the #1 twin flame coach. Unlike the countless other coaches I had been following, who were telling me to heal myself to attract this person back, Kurt was the only one who told me the truth. He didn't fill my head with illusions or false hope. Instead, he explained that what I was experiencing had nothing to do with getting this person back. It was something much, much deeper. Before I met him, I had been desperately searching for answers, watching other twin flame coaches who convinced me that I needed to heal my wounds, raise my vibration, and do inner work so that this person would come back into my life. During this time, I became obsessed with trying to understand what was happening to me. And in my desperation to find answers, I started watching tarot readings obsessively about this person. I searched for any clue, any sign that would explain what was going on, trying to make sense of this overwhelming connection I felt. Every tarot video I watched seemed to offer a piece of the puzzle, but rather than bringing clarity, it just fed into the obsession. At first, it felt comforting, like I was finally getting the answers I craved. But soon, I realized it became toxic. Every reading only deepened my fixation, and instead of helping me understand the experience, it kept me trapped in a cycle of waiting, hoping, and obsessing over the outcome. I was looking for reassurance, validation, and direction, but instead, I was just spiraling further into confusion and emotional turmoil. The tarot readings became a crutch, and rather than moving forward in my journey, I found myself stuck in a loop of external searching, constantly seeking signs and answers from something outside myself. It was an unhealthy attachment, and it prevented me from truly facing what was going on within. Instead of embracing the spiritual growth I was being pushed toward, I was drowning in someone else's narrative. It wasn't helping me heal. It was just prolonging the pain and keeping me stuck in a toxic pattern. But all of that only made the pain worse. The more I tried to fix myself to reunite with my twin flame, the more unbearable my suffering became. It felt like an endless cycle of false hope and deeper agony. But when I found Kurt, everything changed. He explained that this wasn't just a romantic obsession or a soul connection. This was my spiritual awakening. He told me that what I was experiencing was called ego death, the total collapse of the false self, the same thing Eckhart Tolle and many Zen masters had gone through, but in a different way. He understood exactly what I was going through because he had been through it himself, and he had coached over 7,000 students who had gone through the same thing I did. He told me to read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and when I did, things finally started to make sense. I finally understood that this experience wasn't about chasing someone, fixing myself, or manifesting a relationship. It was about awakening to my true self. I can't even express how much gratitude I have for Kurt. I thank him every day for helping me through this. If you're going through the same thing, if you feel like your mind is breaking apart because of a twin flame connection, trust me, contact him. He's the real deal. He saved me, and he can save you too. During the intense obsession phase of my twin flame encounter, things took an even more surreal turn. I started seeing repeating numbers everywhere: 11, 11, 5, 5, 5, 3, 3, 3, and more. It was as if the universe was trying to send me a message, guiding me through the chaos. I couldn't escape it. No matter where I looked, I would see these numbers, and it felt like the world was speaking to me in a language I couldn't yet understand. But the signs didn't stop there. I began seeing my twin flame's name in places I couldn't explain: on signs, in books, on social media, even in conversations with strangers. It was like her energy was following me, pulling me deeper into this intense experience. On top of all that, I experienced a profound Kundalini awakening. The energy inside me started to shift. It was like a surge of raw, powerful energy was awakening from deep within, rising through my body, causing both physical and emotional upheaval. There were moments when it felt like my entire being was being rewired, and it was both exhilarating and terrifying at the same time. My body and mind were going through changes that I couldn't control, and I had no idea how to handle the intensity of what I was feeling. Looking back, I realize these were the signs of a deep spiritual awakening, a process that was pushing me to release the old, the false beliefs, and the ego attachments. But at the time, I was lost in the experience, unable to make sense of the overwhelming pull, the strange synchronicities, and the rising energy within me. It was like I was caught in a whirlwind of emotions and experiences, all pointing me towards something much bigger than I could comprehend at the time. This dark night of the soul with twin flame encounter lasted from late 2020 to mid 2022, dragging me through depths of suffering I never imagined possible. But just when I thought it couldn't get worse, life had more lessons to throw at me. After the twin flame experience, I entered another layer of suffering. My family, the people who were supposed to be my support system, became my greatest source of pain. I found myself trapped in a system of abuse, suffocated by toxic dynamics that drained my spirit. Every day felt like a battle, and I had no escape. Right after I discovered spiritual teachings through Kurt Johnson, I moved back to my family home after finishing my university studies. But instead of finding peace, I walked straight into another nightmare. I entered a cycle of narcissistic abuse from my own family members. My father was still recovering from cancer at the time, and the household was already filled with tension and stress. But nothing could have prepared me for what came next. The moment I finished my studies, I lost everything. My career was gone. My finances collapsed. My health started deteriorating, and I had no sense of stability. But the worst part? The people around me thought I was going crazy. They had no idea what a spiritual awakening was. And to them, I was either mentally unstable or under some kind of witchcraft. Instead of trying to understand me, they judged me, ridiculed me, and abused me. The things they said and did to me during that time were painful beyond words. They called me crazy, dismissed everything I tried to explain, and treated me like I was broken. They wanted me to act normal again, to follow a path that made sense to them, But I couldn't, because I was no longer the same person. They forced me to do things I didn't want to do. They dragged me to different psychics, prophets, desperate to fix me. They made me go through endless prayers and rituals, convinced that something evil had taken over me. But none of it helped. If anything, it only made things worse. The more they tried to force me back into the old version of myself, the more I felt like I was suffocating. At that point, I already understood that what I was going through was a spiritual awakening, and I tried to explain it to them, but no one listened. To them, I wasn't awakening. I was just someone who needed help. They couldn't see that the real suffering wasn't coming from awakening itself. It was coming from their rejection of it. I was trapped in a house where no one understood me, where every day felt like I was fighting just to be myself. I was no longer the person I used to be. I didn't even know who I was anymore. I had lost my future, my sense of self, and my connection to the world around me. And yet, despite all the suffering, there was something else happening beneath the surface. Something deeper was awakening. There came a moment when I hit rock bottom, a moment where I had nothing left to hold on to. No identity, no certainty, no hope. It was in that moment, when I had lost everything, that something unexpected happened. Stillness. For the first time in my life, there was nothing left to fight, nothing left to hold on to. And in that space of emptiness, I felt something I had never felt before. A presence. A deep, quiet awareness that had been there all along, but had been buried beneath my ego, my fears, my attachments. This was the real me, the one that didn't need external validation, success, or control. The one that simply was. That was when I understood. The suffering, the breakdowns, the loss. It wasn't a punishment. It was a purification, a stripping away of all illusions, all false identities, all attachments to things that were never truly me. My soul had orchestrated this journey not to destroy me, but to wake me up. After that realization, everything changed. I didn't magically get my old life back. I didn't suddenly become healed overnight. But something fundamental had shifted. I no longer feared the breakdowns. I no longer resisted the pain. Instead, I surrendered to the flow of life, trusting that everything was unfolding exactly as it was meant to. Over time, I began to rebuild, but this time, from a place of truth. My connection to the universe deepened. My understanding of spirituality expanded beyond what I had ever imagined. And most importantly, I no longer saw life as something to control. I saw it as something to experience. Even now, the awakening continues. There are still challenges, still moments of doubt, still times when the old wounds resurface. But I'm no longer the person I was before. I no longer chase illusions. I no longer fear losing what was never mine to begin with. Because now I know the truth. Everything that happens is happening for awakening. The pain, the loss, the suffering, it's not there to destroy us. It's there to set us free. And once you awaken, you can never go back. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my story. I know it wasn't an easy one, and I'm grateful for your attention and presence. If you're going through something similar, I want you to know that you are not alone. Spiritual awakenings can be tough. They can shake you to your core and make you question everything. But remember, even in the darkest moments, there's a deeper truth waiting to emerge. If you're in the midst of your own journey, if you're struggling, if you're feeling lost, just know that it's okay. It's part of the process, and you will come out on the other side stronger, more aligned with who you truly are. So don't give up. You are exactly where you need to be. I hope that by sharing my story, I've been able to offer some light in your own journey. If you resonated with this, if it helped in any way, don't hesitate to reach out or share your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay present, stay true, and remember, you are always growing, even when it doesn't feel like it. Thank you for being here.